I'm Ellen McCauley. I'm at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. And I really thought an excellent topic for this week of Pray It Off is mindfulness. Now, some Catholics are like, ooh, I don't like to talk about mindfulness. It's not a Christian concept. It's a Christian concept if we make it a Christian concept. If we treat mindfulness and meditation as prayer, if we treat mindfulness and living in the present and asking God to be there with us, it is a Christian concept. And mindful eating checklist is behind your food log, and I put it behind your food log for a reason. I want you to really think when you're eating this week about the taste, the texture, the smell. Pause between your bites. Be aware of the flavor. If you're eating a bowl of chili and all of a sudden you're scraping the bottom and you go, what? I ate that bowl of chili? And you don't even know if it was spicy or not. You ate it too fast. Deep breathing. You know, one of the things is if you're eating with someone, you put the spoon down and you're like, Bob, tell me about that insulation job in Utica. How did that material go on those overhead pipes? And really sound like you're interested. And then you pause.
Wait a minute, you're not?
I am. I swear I am. And then he might say, Ellen, tell me about your most challenging phone call of the day. Now here's the key. When Bob's talking, I'm supposed to be listening, not going yum, 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 yum. So when the other person's talking, you both pause a little bit, and then the meal makes it longer. Sometimes what Bob and I will do is we'll say, okay, it's 5:30. Let's try to make it to 6 o'clock. And we're like, we can't do that. Well, there's no way we can make this plate of food last till 6. And we try it. Because sometimes we can sit down for Thanksgiving dinner at noon, and by 12:10 we're picking up, you know? I don't know if you're part of that family, but I mean, I'm trying to say grace and people are on seconds, you know? So we need to be mindful of what we're eating. Is the food crunchy? Is it creamy? Is it dry? Is it grainy? Is it moist? Like yesterday, I was giving my mother some sherbet. I go, how is it? She goes, well, it's lumpy. And I said, well, yesterday you said it was soupy. I said, how are we going to get it just right, you know? And you do that. You go, sometimes I don't like certain foods because of the texture. I just don't like asparagus. I don't like that green and then the string and all, you know? And some people go, oh, Ellen, you need to have it cooked right. Well, so far, I'm 68 and I have not had it cooked right. Also, is it salty? Oh, boy, when you're watching your sodium, you can tell. If you go out and you say, hey, give me a bowl of soup in a restaurant, and you take that first sip, and you're like, whoa, is that salty? Is it sweet? Is it sour? Is it bitter? Take small bites. If your cheeks are bulging, that's usually a good indication you have too much in your mouth. It's like you're watching a 2-year-old eat something and you look over and you're like, oh my gosh, and you want to shove your hand in their mouth and start pulling some of the food out. We shouldn't be eating like that, okay? Also, chew thoroughly. I forget the exact amount, but it's something crazy, like 28 chews. And it's like, It's like during the pandemic when they said you're supposed to wash your hands through like 2 happy birthdays. I hear some people in the bathroom, like the water goes, and I'm like, did they even put soap on their hands? You know, I mean, we really need to think about how long we're chewing, eat slowly. And then when you eat, look at the food and say, thank you, Jesus. And I even think we could go further. Thank you for the farmers. There's Indians that would thank the spirit of the buffalo. We got to thank what we're eating. Thank you for giving me sustenance. And I'm going to go right over to the first article. And this is one that isn't specifically on mindfulness, but it was in the paper, you can find anything. I get the electronic paper, which is outrageously expensive. So, but I got to know what's going on. I'm just like my mom. And this one was 7 tips for eating and living well in the new year. And I loved it because it said, diets are out, mindful eating is in. Diets are out. Joe's been doing extremely well. He's not starving himself. He's being mindful. I'm going to have a little bit of this. I'm going to enjoy it. You know, sometimes, like if you're saying, oh, I really want a piece of pie, and when you eat half the pie, you're no longer enjoying it because it's too much. You're too guilty. I mean, one person said to me today, one day I eat carrots, the next day I eat cheesecake. It's just the way it is. And you know, that's okay if we only have the cheesecake one day, maybe Thursday night, okay? Red meat in moderation, plants in abundance, eating with awareness. And that's where you go into that fugue state and you've got that bowl of popcorn or those bags of chips and you're going, no, no, no. And then all of a sudden you feel around, you're at the bottom. That's not mindful eating. So it says buy a juicer already. And you know, I was thinking about that. I said to you last week, I don't want to drink my calories, but then I really thought about it. And if I have to have kale and spinach and celery and cucumber and all these veggies, it might not be a bad idea because sometimes chewing can get exhausting, especially a lot of those veggies. And if you crunch them up and put a little herbs and fruit and zing, you can have a really healthy drink, especially if you like V8. Now, I love V8, but I don't drink it. Why? Salt. It is so full of sodium, and guess what? The low sodium V8 tastes like poison. I said, I can't, it's undrinkable. And my mother, we would buy her the low sodium V8 and she'd take the salt shaker and she'd be like, I go, Mom, you're not supposed to do that. It's low sodium. We bought her no salt cashews and she had the salt shaker in one hand and the cashews in the other. It's just the way she is. All right, eat more fermented foods. Now you might say, what the heck are fermented foods? And I know you know what pickles and yogurt are. Now be a little careful about pickles because they can have a little sodium if you have too many of them. But then it talks about kombucha. And you can get a lot of drinks in Wegmans and Costco and all those places. Watch the calories. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about kimchi and kombucha in the future. So I'm going to talk about fermented foods a little bit down the road. Also, what you eat can impact your mental health. I firmly believe this. When I am on plan, when I am doing well, I feel on top of the world. But when I zig, I take that cat o' nine tails and I'm like, I'm awful. I'm sick in the mind. I'm turning to food. Now this week, I had a lot of reasons to get that Michelob Ultra in the garage and start cracking it open. But I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to eat chips. I'm not going to do that. Lord, help me. So I believe that the relationship between the foods we crave and our overall mental health are in sync. And when we overeat and eat the junk food, our depression worsens, our anxiety worsens. No one ever says to me, Ellen, you know, I ate a bag of chips this week and I'm on top of the world. No one has ever said that. Go ahead and have a second cup of Joe. Now, I had my foot surgery on Friday the 13th, and even when they scheduled it, I called my sister back in the summer of last year, and I said, May, they scheduled it for Friday the 13th. Is that okay? And she said, you know, Ellen, our best friend's born on Friday the 13th. It's her lucky day. I'm like, okay, I'll keep it. So I'm telling you, that Camilla Surgery Center is gorgeous. And anyone who says, I have hammer toes and I'm afraid to get it done, do it. You got to wear these stupid shoes for a month. There's worse things in life. I'm telling you, I have no pain today at all. I'm tired, my back hurts, but I have no pain. I couldn't eat from midnight on. That's not long. I had dinner at Thursday night when I got home from Pray It Off. I didn't eat anything. So I'm in the recovery room at 8:30 and they're like, would you like some juice and crackers? We have graham crackers. I'm like, yes. So Bob comes around the corner and I'm like this, guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. I felt like I hadn't eaten in 2 years. And that apple juice, I don't drink apple juice. I don't eat graham crackers. They tasted like the nectar of the gods. And if you saw my food log, they are proudly on there. But they were delicious. And I couldn't wait to get in the car because I had my coffee ready for me in one of these mugs. you can get if you lose 1 lousy pound. Okay? So, it was in the car, and I was drinking it like it was my J.O.B. And it was delicious. So, I gave up creamer. And you know, everywhere you look, they say people can't change. Maybe a little bit. Dear Abby said that, I don't know, yesterday or today. She's like, people can only change a little bit. I disagree. I think people can change a great deal. I gave up coffee. I never thought I would. I mean, creamer. The coffee tastes great to me, black. And it can lower your risk of Alzheimer's and all kinds of things. Eat more plants. We're going to talk more about that as time goes on. It's all about balance. It's all about awareness. Being in this life and knowing that this is our only life to live and we need to value it. Stopping right there, Roberto.